Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. The camp of Vice President Sara Duterte was no longer surprised by the filing of new impeachment complaints against her. They say they are prepared to prove that the allegations are false and baseless. How exactly does Duterte's legal team plan to respond and defend her once again? Let's get on point with one of her legal counsels, Attorney Michael Poa. Attorney Poa, pleasure to have you finally.
Pinky, thank you for having us here.
It's been a long time, huh?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Okay.
And, I think we used to talk about education, and now we're talking about something else. So
That's right. So,
nice to be here.
Attorney Poa, for those who will be seeing him, again, makikita niyo po siya a lot. Dati po siyang kasama ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa DepEd.
Opo,
diba?
tama po yan.
And then eventually you became the Vice President's spokesperson.
For a very short time, yes. I think it was only, if not about, just a little over a month, I think, before all the congressional investigations came in, where, to be honest, I decided that I wouldn't be able to do my job effectively, so we agreed for me to step down at that time
As spokesperson?
As spokesperson.
Why did you say that?
Well, it was, to be honest and frank, it was very difficult because you were attending all these hearings, and then you yourself were being asked certain things and questioned and investigated on certain things, and then you come out and say things in the media. You know, the dynamics were a bit quite, it's very difficult for me to say exactly what I needed to say as a spokesperson and also respond in the House. Because syempre, alam mong, mas gusto kong sagutin na lang yung mga tanong ng mga congressmen right there. And then I didn't want to have to amplify what I just said right after, no? Parang I'm trying to defend myself even outside the forum. So I felt that I wouldn't be doing justice to the job. So nag-usap naman kami. This is something, kaya nga parati kong sinasabi, it was a mutual decision because pinag-usapan naman namin ng maayos yan. And she also saw that she needed probably a spokesperson who could speak that was not too close to the issues at hand.
And who did that end up to be?
For a long
Sorry,
time,
hindi ko na
wala eh.
maalala.
For a long time, hindi yata nagkaroon ng spokesperson ng OVP at that time. And then, I think recently, they had someone else come in, si Attorney Castello, but only to speak on OVP matters.
Right.
But just on the office.
Yeah, kasi kahit ako, yes, I spoke to Attorney Castello also, pero ikaw talaga yung tinatawagan namin, kinukulit namin on. All right. So, what exactly is your role now?
Right now, I'm not. It's good that you asked that question because I think some people are still quite confused. No, so I'm no longer part of the OVP. I'm no longer in government service. But even when I was in OVP, it was really on a consultancy basis only. I was not part of OVP per se. And right now, I'm back in private practice, and I'm just really one of her lawyers dito sa defense team. I have been for a while already.
Since when?
I have been her lawyer kahit nung wala pang impeachment right after I left DepEd. So, she engaged me as private
wala
counsel.
pang impeachment nun?
Wala pa.
I see.
Wala pa. Umalis kasi ako sa DepEd, that was July 2024.
Okay.
So, wala pang impeachment noon. Impeachment only came in.
December.
The first complaint was filed December 2024. December 2, and then all the way till February, yun nga
Hanggang 2025.
nangyari.
So
I was
pag alis mo
her
ng
private
July,
counsel then.
the Vice President kept you as her lawyer?
Private, on the private side, no? So just on her other affairs, but not really on government operations anymore. So, and then I was also spokesperson at that time in OVP, but again, it was just a consultancy contract.
So it appears you seem to have a good relationship with the Vice President.
I'd like to say that, yes. I mean, I've been known to work with her since 2022, so I've also known the person herself. So, and you know, it's been a good ride.
Okay, all right. So, so Attorney Poa now is one of the lawyers. How many firms are representing the Vice President in this impeachment complaint?
Well, there's the big firm, which is of course Fortuna Nervasa and Salazar FNS Law, no? That's headed by Attorney Sigfrid Fortun. Attorney Audrey Narvasa, and Attorney Sheila Season, who is really the senior partner in charge here. As well as we're also working with other lawyers outside Fortune Narvasa, which is of course myself. I have my own little law firm also in Makati. And we also have Attorney Mark Vinluan and Attorney Ralph Bodota. So that has always been the team since day one, and nothing has changed. It's
So
still
you
the
mean
same team.
since 2025?
Since 2025,
Since late
yes.
2024 going into 2025.
Oo,
Kayo
but-
rin talaga?
Kami na talaga, but actually, and this has been said by the Vice President even in interviews, no? 2023 pa lang the defense team was already being formed. Kasi back in 2023, marami ng mga groups, through interviews, lumalabas na may mga planong mag-file ng impeachment. So at that time, she was really preparing already, and so she already sat down with me. We sat down with Attorney Fortune and others, and the team was already being formed actually late 2023, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you really readying yourself more this time around than the one last year?
To be honest, the same. It's the same. Last year, even if we filed the petition before the Supreme Court, as you know, we were also preparing na talaga for trial. So, if you ask me, I'll be very frank with you, there's really no difference. The thing is, at least with this year, we already started last year. We never stopped. Even when the favorable decision, at least favorable for the Vice President, came out, and the motion for reconsideration was filed by the House and it was pending, we never stopped preparing. We still met regularly. We still collaborated with each other.
Why? What is new? What is something to prepare for upon waiting for the decision of the Supreme Court on the motion for reconsideration? Kasi July yung kanilang decision, and then January 2026 yung kanilang second decision, well, their decision on the motion, or MR.
Because to be frank, whatever happened, we knew there would be a second round of impeachment complaints. You know, the Vice President always told us that hindi pa tapos ang laban, kahit manalo tayo sa Supreme Court ngayon, next year meron na naman yan. And true enough, diba? So that's why when the impeachment complaints were filed last Monday, if you remember, we came out with a statement saying exactly that it did not come as a surprise.
To the Vice President.
We knew it was going to happen regardless. And of course, I can't say we're not happy with the Supreme Court resolution on the motion for reconsideration. At least our theory was proven correct, but that doesn't mean it all ends there.
Yeah, because ang sabi niyo po, the House violated the one-year bar rule.
Yes.
I'm trying to simplify it.
Yes.
Di ba? Yun lang naman talaga yun eh. Sabi ng House, hindi totoo yan. We did not violate the one-year bar rule. But the Supreme Court already ruled.
Yes,
You did.
exactly. They did.
The second one, of course, is the question on what will happen if matuloy po ito. So, let's just quickly talk about the impeachment complaint that was filed against the Vice President. There's really an issue here. I had Kiko Aquino D yesterday of Tindig Pilipinas. I asked him. They filed
Feb 2.
Feb 2, thank you, Feb 2, when everyone, all of us knew, at least from the July 2025 decision, that the reckoning date was Feb 6. Kumbaga, the earliest impeachment complaint that can be filed against the Vice President is going to be Feb 6, this coming Feb 6. It is
Friday.
Feb 4 now,
Yeah,
dapat sa Friday. Pero nauna po sila eh. Ano ho ang inyong naging tugon doon sa pag-file? I mean, were you honestly just thinking that, here we go again, this is going to be violative of the Constitution?
Well, to be honest, we did expect they would file Feb 2, although we already heard.
did?
We did not expect that they would file Feb 2 already, but we already, heard some things the night before. As you know, it's a small circle, so we've heard some things the night before that there might be groups filing the day after, which was a Monday. But I think I've listened to the explanation given, if I'm not mistaken, by Attorney Colmenares at least, immediately after the filing, that they felt that the deadline or the judicial deadline given, which was nothing before Feb 6, was sort of changed or revised because of the resolution to the motion for reconsideration. Dahil doon, and that was always our theory naman, is napag-usapan yung definition ng session days. And kung dati, kasi just for everyone to understand,
Yes, please.
diba?
Attorney, go ahead.
Ang session day is yung legislative day, at least yung interpretation, na from call to order to adjournment, it doesn't mean one calendar day. It could last 2 days, 3 days. Actually, dun sa mga budget hearings, nangyayari yan, di ba? But our theory before, when we filed the SC petition, was that a session day is equivalent to one calendar day wherein a session was in fact held. Because sa tingin namin, sa pananaw namin, when the framers of the Constitution actually wrote that provision, they weren't thinking of yung legislative day na pwedeng call to order ka and adjourn ka pero 3-4 na araw na yung lumipas. Because obviously, if impeachment ang pinag-uusapan, expediency is key, di ba? Kailangan, kung sa tingin mo may katiwalian at mataas yung opisyal, impeachable officer, dapat may timeline na ma-actionan yung impeachment complaint. That's why under the Constitution, they have 10 days from receipt of the complaint to table it or include it in the order of business, 10 session days, right? And then 3 session days after that to refer it
to the appropriate
so
committee.
that was our theory. And because that was upheld during the resolution to the MR, they felt that if I may be wrong, but this was what I heard from Attorney Colmenares, that then if you take it that way, then
if
it
you
would have
take to mean
expired this
session
January
days equals
14.
calendar days, yes.
Na-trigger na by January 14, I think, no, yung 1-year bar kasi hindi na-actionan by January 14 yung 10 session days. So dapat by January 16 pwede na. That's their point. Of course, that's their position. Kami, to be honest, pinag-usapan din namin, di ba?
Siyempre.
Imposible naman sabihin ko sa inyo, ma'am, na we did not discuss that in the team. But as I've said in previous interviews, we would like to reserve commenting first and giving our position on the matter.
I saw one interview of yours, but it just makes sense, basically, that if you already questioned way back the session days with how the House defined it and how the legal team of the Vice President defines it under the Constitution, which actually wasn't really clear, why would you not even, I mean, I think it's almost automatic that you would question this because, let me read this, in the July 2025 decision, the 3 impeachment complaints were archived and therefore deemed terminated or dismissed on Feb 4, 2025. Therefore, no new impeachment complaint, if any, may be commenced earlier than Feb 6, 2025. That 2026 rather. That's, I'm sure, pretty much the wording during the July 25
Yes, that's true.
decision.
That's correct.
Doon po kasi sa MR, doon sa decision nila on the motion for reconsideration, I'll be honest, I'll be frank also, it's trying to look for it. Inulit ba yung July to no earlier than Feb 6? I didn't see it.
Wala.
And I also didn't see any reckoning, anything that refers to a reckoning date, whether it's February 6 or January 15. Wala
Exactly.
po. Kayo din ho ba? Kasi
Wala.
ang haba talaga nung decision.
Hinanap ko rin yun, if there were changes. Siyempre, nung we were discussing this amongst the team, tinignan din namin, not just me, but even my co-counsels, tinignan namin. Yes, doon sa tama po kayo, doon sa original decision, may date, may reckoning date. Pero dito sa resolution ng MR, wala. So again, I don't want to give anything away, no, but we're reserving comment on that because we're still monitoring the developments in the House. Remember, this was filed Feb 2. No? They have 10 session days to act on it. Now, we don't know
10
if
session days
anything
equals
else-
calendar days.
Calendar days where sessions were held.
Correct. Ang session naman nila so far, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So kung final nila nung Feb 2 ng Monday, pasok sila sa Tuesday, sa Wednesday, which is today.
Yes.
Tomorrow wala, Friday, di ba?
I'm not aware of their
I think
their,
it's just
their
Monday,
schedule.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Might
Kinapos
not
na nila
be
yung sa
accurate,
Pangulo
no?
today.
So-
Well, I'm not sure also. Let's even say for the sake of argument, so Feb 2, Feb 3, Feb 4, sabihin po natin kahit mag Feb 4, Feb 5 pa sila na session days, which normally isn't the usual case. Kahit next week, pasok pa rin po dun sa within 10
10 session days. So marami pang pwedeng mangyari, to be honest. That's why we're monitoring the developments muna and we're not commenting yet. We want to see how the House will act on these complaints. And then, thereafter, perhaps, pag mas klaro na yung sitwasyon, maybe dyan na kami magsalita on our position.
Kasi what are the possibilities? The possibility, obviously, will be another impeachment complaint that will be filed on Feb 6.
Could be. That's,
Diba?
we're not discounting that,
Of course.
definitely.
Because especially if the Supreme Court said reckoning date is Feb 6, sabihin lang po natin, for the sake of argument, yung dalawang impeachment complaint, Makabayan and Tindig,
Opo.
sabihin violative. Questionin niyo po. Ako na po magsasabi. You question it before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, no, reckoning date is Feb 6. But somebody files on Feb 6, that will be taken up by the House
Exactly.
Justice Committee.
Could be the same. That's why it's that's why to us there's no point commenting on it at the moment. Let's just look at the developments.
Okay.
We also don't want to telegraph our position because we also don't want to end up helping those, you
Yeah.
know, to
That's why I'm
if we
saying, ako
find
na,
them.
kasi that would be the normal course of action, me as a non-lawyer. And the next one also, Attorney Poa, would be, Congressman Luisa sought clarification, di ho ba? From the Supreme Court.
Ano ko yun, narinig ko yun sa isang, I think she was interviewed and she did say that even she herself, no, hindi niya alam ano ba talaga dapat dito. And she said that she thinks there's a need to seek clarification. Now, whether or not there was a formal motion filed before the Supreme Court asking for clarification, I do not have personal knowledge on that at this point. Hindi ko alam kung merong ang na-file.
All right. So we're going to talk about the charges because I think the Makabayan complaint, were you part of it?
Makabayan.
You were
Which,
in the impeachment complaint against the Vice President. You were named there, di ba?
yes, I think I was. Yes, I think I was.
You were named there. We're going to talk about the charges against the Vice President. After the break, we'll continue our discussion with Attorney Michael Poa. When we return, stay tuned. This is On Point.
I trust only the best for me. UFC. Puno ng natural na sangkap. High standard sa alaga. Safe ang paggawa. Noon pa man, bilib na ako. Kaya ito ang pride ko. UFC. World-class quality.
You're watching On Point, still with us, Attorney Michael Poa, one of the counsels for Vice President Sara Duterte. Talk about the charges. It's something I discussed with Kiko Aquino D also yesterday, Attorney. Article number 1, it is here. Respondent, this is their impeachment complaint. Respondent Duterte's own admission in a public broadcast of contracting an assassin and plotting to murder or assassinate the incumbent president, First Lady, and Speaker of the House is a betrayal of public trust, culpable violation of the Constitution, and a commission on high crime. This is something we all saw on video when we saw the Vice President very angry. And I also know that during interviews, she had said, meron siyang qualification doon eh. Kapag namatay ako, meron akong kinausap. Kapag namatay ako. What do you say to that?
Mahirap mag-comment dyan kasi that already goes into, of course, our defense and our strategy. No? But that is something that's not new. That was also included in last year's articles of impeachment. I won't say impeachment of complaint because naging articles of impeachment na siya eh. I think it was grave threat or something that they put there. So, alam mo, Ma'am Pinky, that's why, initially, when we spoke about coming on, I was a bit worried that I wouldn't be of any substance or to you because, syempre, these things, as a lawyer, we have our opinions, but just because I'm advocating for one side, it's very difficult to just comment on that. Now, does that qualify as an impeachable offense, for one? Then those are the issues that will need to be hurdled. No, dito sa,
I actually keep wondering what kind of defense. It's interesting to also find out how the defense will defend the many grounds of why they are asking or calling for the impeachment of the Vice President. And I understand your point, and you can't telegraph also, tell the public exactly what you plan to do. Article 2, basahin ko na lang po, Respondent Duterte's, ito ho yun ay yung misuse. Of course.
Yes.
You were there, hindi ho ba?
Yes.
Nandun kayo nun eh.
Yes.
Supposed misuse of and malversation of her confidential funds as Vice President and then Department of Education Secretary is a criminal act of graft and corruption and a betrayal of public trust. Hindi ho talaga matatanggal sa usapin yung confidential funds of the OVP
And DepEd.
and DepEd. We're looking at an amount of 612.5 M.
Yes, in
Okay.
total.
Yan po yung gusto nila ng sagot. Ganito na lang po, are you prepared? How do you prepare to answer such allegations that the Vice President inubos niya within 11 days so much of the confidential funds?
Yes, I think part of it is really explaining how confidential funds are used. So definitely we're prepared. In fact, they've always asked kasi, or there's always this notion that the Vice President never wanted to answer these questions. But as I've mentioned also in the previous interview, without unnecessarily giving a glimpse to our defense, but confidential activities, there's a reason why they're confidential, hindi ba? Because they're confidential, they're intelligence operations that are ongoing. Now, if you discuss this openly in public all of a sudden, then you end up jeopardizing ongoing confidential operations. Kasi nakikita kung ano yung ginagawa, paano ginagawa. And that's why the Vice President always shied away from giving details into these matters. Kasi in fact, there are laws...
Are they ongoing operations? Is that what you're talking about?
Not just within DepEd or OVP, but even, at the national level, we have all intelligence agencies that are conducting all these intelligence activities, and hindi ganun kadali bigla kang magde-disclose because you might jeopardize that. And now, in fact, there are laws that even criminalize yung unauthorized disclosure ng mga confidential information. Under RA 3019, for example, that law punishes anyone who discloses to an unauthorized person all these confidential information.
Unauthorized.
So, unauthorized.
Yun ang operative
That's
word.
the operative word. Now, who's authorized and who's not
I was
authorized?
going to ask you that.
That's
Would
something that has
Congress
to be
have
determined.
been in authority to be able to ask those questions?
That's probably one of the issues we'll have to hurdle during the impeachment. But the way it has to be attacked is, of course, confidential activities, at least on a broad sense, will have to be parang explained, not naman explained, pero kumbaga, papaintindihin natin yung mga nangyari sa confidential
Will
activities.
the defense team account for this 612?
I believe with our defense, we will be able to show that walang misuse ng funds. Let's put it that way.
Will the defense be able to explain Mary Grace Piatos?
Well, we will be able to explain not just Mary Grace Piatos, but all of the other accusations on fake names, fake things,
Yung iba pa po.
But again, we have to remember, sorry for cutting you
No,
short
go
there,
ahead.
but we have to remember that it is the prosecution that has to show first, na yung mga ganitong pag-attach ng mga names, that is or that tantamounts to misuse. So they'll have to show first. Kami naman sa, diba, as we all know in our system, everyone is presumed innocent.
The burden of
proof,
lies with the prosecution.
and then it
di ba?
shifts after they present their evidence. It shifts to the defense, diba? So yan yung mga dynamics sa court. So tingnan natin, but kami we're prepared for all of that.
Pero ibig ko sabihin, ang tanong, I know very limited po, and you're free not to respond. The names such as Mary Grace Piatos, do you have an answer for that?
Yes, we have an answer. It can be explained. No, it can be explained.
It's a name.
It's a name?
A code.
Oo. It's a name. It could be a code. It could be a real name, but there's an explanation. Yun na lang masasabi.
And to all other names that sounded incredible, even funny at times, lahat po yun, maiisa-isa ninyo.
Kung isa-isahin nilang, kasi again, it's the prosecution that will have to present all these things. Kung iisa-isahin nila, we have no choice but to also isa-isahin ding sagutin, hindi ba? So, there's an explanation to everything, and that's part of it. It's explaining, and not even just explaining, just presenting the facts. presenting how things are done.
Attorney, when you present facts, I'm just interested to find out, is it important for the defense, and I don't know if you're going to answer this, that if you identify or give more information, for example, let's stick to Mary Grace Piatos, that you actually show the person, ganun ba yun?
Well, wala pa akong pwedeng i-disclose dyan, but I don't think I don't think it has to come to showing people, no? Especially if
Kasi
these are really intelligence personnel, that will endanger a lot of lives, hindi ba? So it's a tantamount to saying you're exposing an informant, right?
Correct.
So I think that will endanger a lot and
I was just
jeopardize a
thinking
lot
of
of
how can that be defended? How so? By showing an ID, how do you substantiate that?
I will not answer that at the moment,
Okay.
but I think you'll see when the time comes,
sige.
at the appropriate time.
Obviously, you are very ready for that because
I'm
matagal
not
na
being
po
elusive.
itong-
It's just that
I know.
I hope you understand. I'm not being
Perfectly understand, sir.
evasive or elusive. It's just that we really have to not telegraph the defense to be able to effectively defend the Vice President. Because it is for them to prove first that she did something wrong.
Attorney, pag-usapan na lang po natin yung nadagdag this time. That was not part of the complaint last year.
Yes,
Ito pong si Madriaga. What can you tell us? Sino ho ba siya talaga sa team, sa buhay ni Vice President Sara Duterte?
I think I've already said this yesterday, so I think okay lang naman na ulitin ko lang to. No? When the affidavit came out, first and foremost, just to give us a bit of context, we already had an idea that this was probably going to be part of the impeachment effort. Diba? The only thing I can say is the Vice President has categorically said that she does not know Ramil Madriaga personally. No? And in fact, si Colonel Lachica, who was one of the security officers, already filed, if I'm not mistaken, no? Kasi hindi ako yung abogado niyan but he already filed a criminal complaint against Madriaga for perjury, and I'm not sure if there's also may nabasa akong cyber libel, but he has already filed criminal complaints against this Madriaga. Now, I don't know if the other personalities named in the same affidavit are also planning to do the same, no? File cases against him. But sa amin, we're prepared to expose yung mga sinabi ni Madriaga as being untrue, so to belie all these statements made.
Did the Vice President go to Camp Bagong Diwa ba and visit him?
No, she did not go to Camp Bagong Diwa to visit him. I think Secretary John Vic already,
Basically said what the Vice President,
what she was there for.
Ang binisita niya is Congressman Teves.
Oo, yun ang pagkasabi ni, although of course I cannot confirm or deny kung sino yung binisita niya because I wasn't part of it. No?
But that was the, so you're saying she does not know him personally, but because there are photos, etc., kahit sino naman pwede magpalitrato sa'yo.
Madali. And I'm sure you know that, Ma'am Pinky, kahit sino nagpapalitrato rin sa'yo. No? Sa akin, paminsan, to a very small extent, may ganun din. So, we have no control over that.
No connection whatsoever. Kasi ang sinasabi ni Madriaga, galing po kay Pangulong Duterte yan, nirecommend niya kay Vice President.
Oo, well, the Vice President does not recall anything like that and hindi talaga niya kilala. Yun lang basically. Now with the President Duterte, unfortunately, hindi ko naman natin siya makausap at this point. No? But yun lang ang masasabi ko sa ngayon without, again, telegraphing our defenses is categorically hindi niya kilala.
One of the defense counsels of Vice President Sara Duterte, Attorney Michael Poa. Pleasure to have you, sir. And
Thank
I'm
you
sure
for having us.
we'll be seeing you more.
Thank you. Oh, well, I hope so. That's because I'd like to thank you first and foremost for giving us the time to at least air out our side and give you a glimpse of what the defense team is thinking.
We're always open, Attorney. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.